From the day this video's uploaded, I'm assuming it's still January, and I hope you've done something on your New Year's list, but let's face it, if you're watching my channel, I'm pretty sure it's still in progress. But I made my New Year's resolution on a video about coffee.
Illuminating television.
Details on my tattoo at the end.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can plan.
Cuppa Coffee starts off with two people, Adam Shaheen and Bruce Alcock. Adam, born in London, would go to University of the Arts London and would go into graphic designing for various companies in London and Canada. Bruce Alcock would begin his animation career in Barcelona under Dirk van de Vondel. After being his apprentice, would go on to various animations for indies as well as short films. Adam and Bruce would meet and create Cuppa Coffee in 1991. After Adam wanted to do more animation that was, quote, unconventional. In the beginning, Cuppa Coffee would do bumpers for Much Music and a Fruity Pebbles commercial. By 1993, Cuppa Coffee would get much needed press from the City TV interview on mixed animation in the media, putting the studio on the map. In 1996, Bruce would leave Cuppa Coffee Studios to move into Chicago to start his own company, Tricky Pictures. A year later, would create Sergeant York, a small division and team that would create the Nickelodeon short film The Adventures of Sam Digital in the 21st Century. Fast forward to 1999, Cuppa Coffee would create its first series for HBO Family, Crashbox, which I talked about in this video here just to avoid redundancy. In the same year, Cuppa Coffee would make Snowden's Christmas for CBS while also getting in with Fisher-Price with the Little People series. The 90s would do Cuppa Coffee well. The beginning of the 2000s was a mixed bag for the studio. As Crashbox would end after 2 seasons, Cuppa Coffee would make 3 shows, Ted's Bed, Gordon Giraffe, and Cinema Sue. As a video distributor would go into greenlighting VHS tapes, Cuppa Coffee would cease production and Broadway Video would cease agreements. By 2003, Cuppa Coffee would make The Wrong Coast with Curious Pictures for the Movie Network in Canada, while making its second series, Jojo Circus. Jojo Circus would be the second to last show made from Cartoon Pizza after the buyout from its previous studio, Jumbo Pictures Inc. Douglas Wood, writer for both Animaniacs and Tiny Toon Adventures, would be creative executive, while Becky would perform the theme song. The show itself was about a young clown named Jojo learning to be a circus performer while at the same time teaching kids lessons about friendship and being self-conscious. The show would last 3 seasons and get a short called Feeling Good with Jojo, where kids learn yoga moves.
It's sheer, unadulterated madness. Movie madness.
In 2005, Cuppa Coffee would create different shows from Bruno and the Banana Bunch and Tigga and Toga. Little People would have its last season around this time from Cuppa Coffee. In 2006, MTV would premiere the stop-motion series Celebrity Deathmatch.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Celebrity Deathmatch was first piloted in 1998 under Fogelmania Productions and Tactoon Enterprise. January 4th and 25th were the main greenlight pilot tests to see if the show would have any traction. 4 months later, the show would premiere. It would go on until June 21st, 2001 and bring it to Germany as Celebrity Deathmatch hits Germany. Audiences would give bad reviews to the show that the cancellation was rumored to be the end of the show at this time. UPN would rerun the show for later seasons. A movie in 2003 was in the making, but was shot down by MTV. By 2006, the show would be revived under the Sick'em Friday block, but was originally supposed to air in late 2005. Eric Fogel would not be a part of the revival of the show. Cuppa Coffee would be in production of both season 5 and 6. As the show would be in Cuppa Coffee's production, the show would have a periodic rise in views ranging from 2.5 million views per night. 2007 would be the final cancellation of the show. It was rumored that the show was going to have a third revival for MTV2, but Fogel stated that he would not be making the show any longer, while at the same time, another revival in 2019 was rumored to take place with Ice Cube as the host, but was never realized. By the end of the year, Cuppa Coffee was going to take on Captain Mac, but was later done by Fireback Entertainment. By 2009, Gordon Ramsay would partner with Cuppa Coffee Studios to make his own stop-motion show called Gordon Ramsay at Your Service, but the production was halted. At the same time, Cuppa Coffee would make its second-to-last show to be aired for U.S. audiences.
Let's hit the road. out!
Michael Eisner would pitch the show with his own investment thrown in the mix. Eisner would convince Nick at Night to host the show, as Nick at Night was at this time losing viewers with the older crowd. However, Michael would say that Nick at Night would have nurturing shows rather than putting it on Fox, about a dentist who would burn down his house and take a road trip with his RV across the country to strengthen his family bond. The show would integrate a laugh track on the inspiration from 1970s sitcoms. However, it would be taken out after a few episodes due to, quote, too much internal thinking, because the laugh track was forced too much on jokes to the audience that made no sense. The show in the US was received very mixed to poor reviews from critics, albeit would receive a Gemini and Annie Award, while parents would garner controversy with the show being too sexual in nature to be shown at 8 p.m. when SpongeBob would be shown at 7 p.m. This show would last 2 seasons. Cuppa Coffee would have extensions done and new branches to the studio, but it wouldn't be enough to keep the studio afloat. Various shows would be canceled and moved to other production companies. Fast forward to 2016, Cuppa Coffee Studios would open another studio in Burbank, California. The following year, the studio in Canada would shut down. The US branch is still open, but no one has ever heard from Cuppa Coffee since then. No new projects, nothing. The studio exists in Burbank, but we don't know what's coming next for the studio at all. Cuppa Coffee disappeared with no trace at all. The studio exists, but no one knows any upcoming projects from them. Back in the day, they started out very strong. However, adding too many wings and divisions in the studio while at the same time taking on various projects that tanked the company would do Cuppa Coffee in. I would label this studio defunct. If there was no upcoming shows or feature films, then the next thing would be a shutdown, which hasn't happened yet. But with the Canadian office gone, it won't be long before the US studio goes with it.
Epilogue.
So everybody wants to know about the tattoo, so I guess I'll do a little story for you. Way back when I was, I guess, 12 or 13, I contacted Cuppa Coffee, the animation studio, when it was still operational up in Canada, and they got back to me, and I really liked their content to the point of, asking if I could get a shirt from them. And, they actually gave me a lot of pointers, they gave me a lot of inspiration to, one day be able to work with Cuppa Coffee. So that's kind of why I have the tattoo, because it was a, turning point in my life to be in the entertainment industry. So that's kind of why I got the tattoo in the first place. I mean, a lot of people have asked me why I had it, and well, now you guys know. I don't know where the shirt went. I think I donated it. I do miss that shirt. But unfortunately, after many washes, the shirt itself got dyed out and, well, couldn't fit in anymore. So I wish I could get another shirt from them.
Paul?